Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to A Stoic Plays. I am Marcus Aurelius, and let me describe a scenario for you and see if this bears any truth in your own life. You get home from a busy day, doing whatever it is you do, school, work, whatever, and you're very tired and you just want to relax with a game. And you really enjoy Space 4X games. But the commitment involved in loading up one of those games just weighs on you, and you think, oh my gosh, one turn's going to take an hour. I just don't have the time for this. I wish there was just something quick and simple that I could play. Well, Falling Stars: War of Empires scratches that itch. It solves that problem. What Falling Stars: War of Empires is it's almost a board game like 4X space game, which focuses much more on the short tactical game and less about the grand narrative and grand strategy. It is being put out by Riveted Games, LLC, based out of Chicago, Illinois. And its release date is going to be April the 26th, 2016. This is a pre-release copy, and I'm sure that the developer will continue to work on it as we proceed closer to the release date and beyond. It's actually a very small team, 2 full-time developers, as well as an artist and a modeler. And the aspect of Space 4X that they really want to bring out is competitive multiplayer. And I've had this issue with a number of games, such as Dominions 4, which I love. Multiplayer is just such a hassle. It takes months for a multiplayer game to resolve itself. So the guys who made this game, what they wanted to do was create a game where you could play a quick-paced multiplayer game with your buddies, and it's not going to take all night or all week. You can finish a game on some of the settings in under 30 minutes. So let's take a look at it, shall we? First of all, the tutorial is quite good, and it kind of introduces you to all the concepts of the game. I'm still not very good at it. It's small and short, as I mentioned, but still very complex, and the choices that you make every turn can have a huge impact on how the game proceeds, and I'll show you that right now. So there are 4 pretty interesting races, and they each have different abilities. There is the Legion of Rixa, I'm not entirely sure, but they are warriors, and their ground forces gain additional damage as a passive ability. Then there is the Colony of the Gasuduns, or Suduns if the G is silent, not sure. They're like a hive mind, so their ability is you can permanently exhaust a planet's resources that you have conquered to immediately gain those resources. And they're more of a expansionistic, militaristic race. There is their Ubariot, or Ubariot, and they are little frog dudes, and their issue is diplomacy. And I get that, because the first thing I think when I look at this little guy is I want to make a deal with this little guy. He looks like someone I could trust. But they're basically the diplomats, and they're startlingly effective at what they do. I was playing a game just now where I was steamrolling the universe and doing quite a good job, only to be told, oh, sorry, the Ubariots have won. Because the game is not won by conquest, it's not won by victory, it's won by victory points, which are awarded in numerous ways, many of which I'm not still 100% well versed in, but there's capture, barter victory points for capturing or bartering planets. There are technology victory points for researching technologies. There are political victory points. Every single turn there's kind of like a United Nations deal where everyone votes on a resolution, which could have far-reaching changes to how the game is played. And if you are on the right side of that vote, that is the winning side, then you get a victory point. And if you are not, then you don't. So it's very conceivable, I suppose, that if you play for 10 turns and are right every single time, and all else equal, you could win just by doing that. And finally, you gain victory points by winning in battles. And this can come to bite you, because if the other nations are mixing it up and you're on the safe side of the universe, minding your own business, then they're going to get victory points for all these little battles and you're not. So even if you're ultimately stronger than they are, they still win the game, which again encourages a fast-paced game where you want to really go after your enemies quickly to avoid falling behind in the victory point race. And finally, there is the race that I'm going to play, which is the Terran Matriarchy. Down with the patriarchy, I say, up with the matriarchy. And they are basically the humans who over time have decided that it's in the best interests of humanity to let women run everything, which any husband or boyfriend out there can probably agree is typically how things go. But so I'm going to be playing them, and their passive ability is you can move from your home system to any wormhole containing your dreadnought. A dreadnought is one of your units. And they gain the starting technology magnetic suspension, which means the carriers require one less fuel to move. And carriers are quite necessary because they move fighters and troops around the map. So we're going to play in a sparse galaxy, or sparse planet density, I'm sorry, with a 3-size galaxy. We're just going to play at the lower end of the settings to support a faster game. And we're going to get started. Alright, so we are the Terran Matriarchy. And the rules are very simple, and the game's very quick. You can see this is our galaxy. These are the 3 other enemy AIs, and there's always a planet in the middle, at least in the games that I've played, called Arcus Vir. And it's a pretty good planet in terms of resources and influence, but it's being guarded by a neutral fleet. Now you have different types of units. You have fighters, which cannot leave, well, at least until you research the right technologies, they can't leave your home system unless they're in the presence of a carrier. There are also cruisers, which are basically low-level fighting ships, and dreadnoughts, high-level fighting ships. And then there are ground units, which again have to be loaded into carriers and are what you use to conquer worlds. And there's also technology research. Now you can research technology by using resources. And as you can see here, I do not have the resources currently to research any technologies. The way technologies work is quite simple. There are 4 different categories. There is the warfare category, the, I guess, diplomatic category. I'm not sure. It explains in the tutorial, but I don't remember what this category is, but it looks like tactics and stuff. And then there's the movement or ship upgrade category. And you select a tech that starts with 1 to start off, and then once you've selected a tech that starts with 1, you can then go on to a tech that starts with 2, and then on to a tech that starts with 3. These techs here with the X are cross techs that are in different categories, and they each have their own requirements. Like, for example, this tech, Space Footman? Is that what that says? Yep. Space Footman, it requires you to have 1 Tier 2 of the red technologies and 1 Tier 2 of the green. So you will not get this until you've already invested in 4 separate technologies if you want to shoot for this. And I really don't know much about the technologies. I'm sure they impact the game quite a bit, and I'm sure there are going to be tons of strategies for what technologies to rush in order to have the biggest impact. But the first thing I want to do is explore and conquer. And remember, fuel is limited. Each system has 3 resources, that being resources, influence, and fuel. Influence buys you votes in the United Planets, United Nations votes every turn. Resources allow you to build things, and fuel allows your ships to move. And so you have to carefully manage each of these resources throughout the game. So the first thing I guess I want to do is I want to take one of my carriers, or not my carriers, I'm sorry, one of my cruisers, and just scout out. Let's see what's here. We're just going to move one of them to only cost 1 fuel. Nothing there. Alright. So now we're down to 4 fuel. So we're going to check out... Come on. One of the issues is it's hard sometimes to select a unit. It does light up a little bit, as you can see here, and it tells you the name of it. But you have to be very careful about it. I'm sure there's a probably easier way to do that, but let's select another cruiser. And let's move over here. Only going to move 1. Alright, we are not getting incredibly lucky here. So let's go with cruiser number 3. Alright, we found a planet. So let's take a look at it. This planet has 5 resources, which is great for building stuff. No influence, though, and 5 fuel. So this is a great planet in order to build ships. So what we're going to do is we're going to load our ground troops. And you can see here we can't load them onto fighters or cruisers. There's a red line. But we can load them onto carriers. Let's load them all up. We're going to take our carrier, and we're going to move them over here. Once you do that, you right-click System Info again, and... oh. I cannot attack them. Perhaps it's because the resources. Maybe you need as many troops as there are resources. I'm not entirely sure. It's usually easier than this to conquer a planet, though I, in my previous games, have not found planets to be this amazing in terms of resources. So there might be some limit, because the carrier does have only 4 troops. We'll find out. But we still do have 1 fuel, so we're going to send another cruiser over here. Alright, another planet. This one only has 2 resources, 2 influence, and 4 fuel. Alright, so before you end your turn, what you want to do is you want to utilize your space station, which you can build when you conquer another planet, and think about resources you need. So I'm going to need, it looks like, a carrier, and let's get 2 more ground units to see if we can conquer this planet. Now you'll notice it here, it says resources 3, OCF, that's your space station, capacity 3. Right now it all evens up, but typically you're limited by your OCF capacity. Your resources are galaxy-wide, so you just have to keep track of both of them, but then build. And we are done for this turn. So at that point, you go and click the End Turn button. And the other teams get to play. And you can move around, look at the universe from different angles, zoom in, zoom out, move around like that. Okay, so here's how the game gets more complex right away. At the end of every turn, you can choose a strategic action. And there are 5 different categories of strategic action. You can choose whichever one you want. But each strategic action has 4 sub-actions. And when you first select a strategic action, you can only pick the first sub-action. If you select that same strategic action again the next turn, you can select up to the second. You can select the first or the second, and so on and so forth. So if you want to get a particular 4th level strategic action, you have to select the same category 4 times in a row to get it. So I'm brand new to this, so I don't know what I want, what's good. But once you're familiar with the game, you're familiar with the actions and what they do, you may have a particular play style that you want to embrace, in which case you will need to, rather than click each one once, you might want to force focus on one of them in particular to get your level 4 action. So what I personally like is creation, because it doubles the capacity of what a space station can build. Now, it's not going to help me too much right now, because I only have 1 planet. So my resource limit is actually probably lower than what my space station can build anyway. So what else? Tactical actions can be played like during battles and throughout the game. Let's get a technology upgrade. So then again, as I said, there's 4 supplementary ones, and I can only get the first one right now, which means gain 2 resources for every green tech that is researched. Not that useful to me right now, particularly because I haven't researched any green techs. But okay, Arcosphere Annihilation. The occupiers of Arcosphere have come in contention with the rest of the galaxy. If they cannot garner enough support, then their ground forces will be destroyed, and the bounty of Arcosphere will be split among the other empires. I've seen this one before. So if you're for this, all ground forces on Arcosphere are destroyed, and the remaining empires gain a bounty of 4 resources. If you're against this, Arcosphere remains under control of the rebels. So you'll notice here that each nation has a certain level of diplomatic points, and we are by far the weakest in influence, because it appears that the other nations have each probably conquered another planet, and we have not. So, our only goal here, I suppose, since we can't really influence the results, is to hopefully be on the side of the winners. And it's hard to tell what that's going to be. I'm going to go 4. And green means everybody voted with me. So we all get a victory point, as well as we all get 4 resources. Alright, my turn again. See about technology. This will give home world influence. This will give 20% of a planet's resources upon bartering. So you can barter with a planet instead of conquering it. And you get certain benefits from that. Enhanced carrier thrusters. Dark matter compressors. Dreadnoughts require 1 less fuel to move. That's pretty good. Infantry. 10% chance to gain +1 ground force wherever you build on a planet. I like that. Let's do that. Alright, so let's see if my calculation was correct here. Let's load up this carrier. And let's move our carrier over here. And now we should have 6 ground troops. And we can now conquer the planet. So I suppose you either need more ground troops than the resources, or fuel in this case. I'm not sure entirely. But let's conquer it. Boom. So this planet now belongs to us. And that provides our, I guess, nation, our empire, with an additional 5 resources and 5 fuel. So the first thing we want to do, since we would definitely want to produce ships here, is to build an OCF, or a space station. Alright. So now let's use our remaining fuel to explore the galaxy. Okay, nothing there. Nothing there. So we're in a really crappy start position, as you can see. Everybody else is close to a bunch of planets. And we are kind of, well, not. So the first thing we want to do is we use our strategic action that allows us to purchase a, was it a green technology? Well, it still says I don't have the resources. Maybe I didn't understand that very well. Let's see if... Nope, we were. We were able to learn additional green technology, which is Tactician Savvy. That's cool. Now we also have Rebel Aid as a strategic. Play after moving into a station, or system, I'm sorry, containing another player, which we have not done. But it allows basically 1 rebel ship to join your fleet. But that is really all we can do right now. So we're going to, we have 1 more fuel. So we're going to use that. In what way? Let's explore. No, I guess I can't move him. Alright, so let's move our Dreadnought. Or we can't, really? Oh, we can. Okay, cool. Or we actually can't. See, I'm selecting the planet. Here we go, cruiser. Nope, cruiser. Please, cruiser. There we go. We'll move him there. Alright, so now what we want to do is we want to use up our resources. So we're going to build units. We have OCF capacity of only 3. So even though we have 6 resources, we can only use 3 of them. And what I want is additional ground units. Because then I can move my carriers here, pick up the ground units, and conquer this planet here. But it looks like we are not going to get the better of this game. You can kind of see what they're doing here. That's a black hole. So that's like our special ability. If we have a ship on that black hole, we can move, I guess, other ships to it. So let me kind of show this concept of the tech tree. So let's go back with Technocrat. And so now you can see we can get up to Supplementary 2, which means gain 2 resources for every red tech that is researched. Okay, perfect. Now, fire inside. Rogue fleets gain their resources and men from those who are tired of being a part of the Empire's plans for galactic conquest. However, their resources are still procured from wealth those empires provide or do not properly secure. Choose whether to increase aid to the rogue fleets or cut them off. Let's cut them off. Yeah. And once again, I am on the winning side. And by the way, see this guy up here? This is victory points. You'll see here that I have 3. The best one has 6, and you need 10 to win. Well, in this game you need 10 to win. You can change it in the settings. So if you want a game to last longer and to have more conflict, obviously you raise the number of victory points that you need. Okay. So let's do what we were planning on doing. Let's move this ground unit here back to the carriers. Let's move the carriers here. Let's actually only move 2 of them. Let's move these guys. Come on, ground troops. Let's load you up. Why can't we do that? There we go. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But we cannot move the carriers this turn, though, so we'll just have to wait. In the meantime, I suppose we will keep exploring. There's a planet. Oh, 6 resources. Wow, that's an awesome planet, but we're not going to have the strength to conquer it. 1 resource, but tons of fuel. 4 resources, 2 influence, 2 fuel. That's a pretty typical basic planet. And what have they got here? They've got a cruiser, we've got a cruiser. Let me show you combat. Why not? It'll be fun. So, but let's use our tactical advantage here of Rebel Aid. Did that work? It did. Okay. What's this now? Hyper thrusters. Play before now. Alright, so we're good. Let's watch the battle. And theoretically, with the right settings, battles can contain hundreds of ships. You just array them on this grid here, so you can like move them around if you want. And ships will always attack ships in the front row first. So if you have vulnerable ships or whatnot, you want to put them in the back row. In my case, I really don't care too much. It's just a basic little battle. But you'll notice we have a fighter here backing us up because of our using our tactical card, so to speak. So let's lock coordinates, which means you're ready for battle, and watch the battle. We won! And we didn't lose anything too, which is great. So that was how the battles play out. And again, they can get really chaotic with tons and tons of ships depending on the settings that you use to play your game. Alright, so we have 8 resources. Our influence is just ridiculous, though. We have 4 fuel. So we're going to... Come on. Let's try that again. Alright, let's build units. Let's build another 3 ground units. And now in this one, we have perfect 5 resources and 5 capacity. So let's build some more fighting ships. Let's build a dreadnought and a cruiser. Excellent. We do have some fuel remaining. I think we're good at exploration. I want to move our ships together so they fight better with one another. I guess I can't move them, okay. So we can probably load our fighters into our carriers. Or we can't, I guess, because they're full. Alright. Wow, we moved a lot of ships here. For some reason. Oh, I just built them, that's why. So let's go carrier. And move you back home. Alright, well, it's end the turn, that's fine. Now again, I've only played a couple games of this. The game isn't even released yet, so obviously there's going to be more to it, and once people play it to any degree of length, they will discover tactics and strategies that I'm completely oblivious to. Because that's why you guys watch me, right? It's because of my tactical genius. Let's just go full technocrat. Now this time, every time a yellow tech is researched, no, we're going to go with red. The inhabitants of your home world are rebelling against the outsourcing of trades. In times of war, your only refuge is your mother world, and this mistake could be a costly one. If you choose not to enhance build capacity on your home planet, you will relinquish all of their influence. Ooh boy, I think I'm gonna have to go for this, because my home planet right now is the only planet I have with influence. And it looks like we win yet again. Everyone's on board with this plan. Alright, good. So, but the problem is this guy is dangerously close to winning. He just needs 2 victory points. But we can gain a victory point. Oh. What are you doing? A cruiser is attacking my cruiser. Do I have a tactical action I could use? Critical hit. Your next 2 ships involved in space combat to receive +5 on their next combat roll. Hyper thrusters, no. Swift retreat. Alright, let's try critical hit. Alright, here we go. Boom. Battle won. So we have another victory point. Or actually we don't. We didn't gain a victory point for that. Or did we? Actually, we might have. Let us think here. So this world is pretty good. But we're not going to be able to make it there, right? This will give us +1 to carrier movement. Let's do that. We should have obviously chosen a red one, because that would have given us extra resources, but right now we just need what we need. So first of all, let's move the Dreadnought here to take care of this enemy ship. And draw. Both sides have perished. I'm not sure how their little ship took out our Dreadnought, but good for it, I suppose. Let's load up our carriers. Let's try this again. Come on, ground unit. Why are you making my life difficult? There we go. Not all carriers. Oh, that's okay, that's fine. And let's go get this planet. Let's move everybody. We get that extra move now because of our tech, didn't we? We had better had. Come on. Hey man, we have +1 move here. Play before moving your fleet. Well, bad move. I didn't do that. But still, that's not... I should have gained my enhanced thrusters. Maybe it doesn't come into play until the following turn. Perhaps. Not sure. But alright, next turn we'll get it. If the game is still going on. Might as well do more searching. Oh, actually, ooh, crap. We're going to die here. Well, it's a carrier. So let's see. I don't know how good carriers are at fighting. Looks like we both have shields for some reason. Don't remember getting those, but this battle is going a long time. But we won! Huzzah! So now we're actually doing pretty well. We're at 7 victory points. Alright, excellent. Our resources are kind of down. Let's build another carrier here. And a cruiser. And a ground unit. And that's it with that. So let's... Okay, so we have a fighter and a cruiser here, but we can't move the fighter. Let's cruise our way into here and see if we can't take this guy out. Huzzah! No, unfortunately we lost the battle, and we gave this guy an extra victory point. Which is okay, because he's not the leader right now. Where are you? Your cruiser? Can you move? Let's try again. Come on. Let's go. Alright. Hey, we're in this. We are in this, folks. We're in this to win this. We have 8 victory points. We're tied for first place. Problem is, our turn's almost over. And it's going to be their turn. So they can theoretically win. Let's see what happens. Alright, what do I want to do here? Receive 3 new tactical actions. That might be useful. Move your fleet again for no fuel cost when exploring a neutral system. So that's a pretty good explorational one. Let's just receive 3 new tactical actions. Discard 2 of another player's tactical actions. I like the sound of that. Orbital construction facilities are created by some of the greatest minds in the galaxy, and these great minds are becoming more business savvy too. If you wish to continue constructing fleets to fuel your wars this round, you must purchase a brand new building. Okay, so what this is basically saying is, none of your space stations can build ships except for brand new ones. And I'm going to vote against that. And it looks like we're winning again. Now, who's the one? Hopefully... Okay, cool. So they're only at 9. Oh, nope. See, once again, the Uberiat wins because they're so good at diplomacy and such. With their silver tongues and cunning manipulation, the the Uberiat have raised up their allies and drowned out their enemies to take over the throne of Arcus Vir. I guess Arcus Vir is like Arrakis in Dune. It's like, that's the main planet that everybody wants a piece of. Their reign has caused despair among the masses and utopia for those with the means to purchase favor among the Uberiat. So that was kind of a small game. And again, in the single player settings, you can increase the density of the planets, you can increase the galaxy size quite a bit, with each tick increasing the size by 50%. You can increase the resources, technology costs, and you can make it up to, 100 victory points instead of 10. So in those kind of games, you can fight with hundreds of ships, and it's a lot more long-term. But again, if you just want to sit down and play a quick 30-minute game just to entertain yourself, and it's got a lot of different choices that can affect how the game progresses, this is really a great little game. And you know me, I always very much like to support independent developers because I feel like a lot of good ideas come from independent developers and independent studios. So, once again, this is Falling Stars, War of Empires, available everywhere, or Steam at least, on April 26th, 2016, just in case you happen to be watching this years in the future. It's already released. But once again, it is by Riveted Games, LLC. So I definitely recommend you check it out on Steam when it comes out. I will post a link in the description down to the Steam page, though it will not be available right away. And I think it's definitely worth a look. So once again, I am Marcus Aurelius. This is A Stoic Plays, and this is, of course, Falling Stars, War of Empires. Have a good one, everyone.